Shiur number 3, Nesiv Shalom, Daf Lamed Beis, heart, and Lev, heart, on Chanukah. L'zeich Nishmas, Lilu Nishmas, my father, Rabbi Chilben Sim Bereb Daif, and my mother, Mendel Bas Rabbi Yisrael. David HaMelech was Mesake in the Mizmar of Mizmar Shir Chanukah's Habayis LeDavid. He had a Chanukah's Habayis. Chanukah is the lashon of Chanukah's Habayis, a renewal, a renewed home. Beis HaMikdash was being rebuilt. And he was Mesake in this Mizmar, Avur Kol Yehudi, for every single Jew. You ever think about that? We all know that David HaMelech went through so many problems. He went through, it says that he went through every problem that could possibly happen. And he was Mesake in this Mizmar for every Jew, because he went through so many dark times, so many breakdowns, begashmius, berachnius, that were so powerful, and they were totally overpowering him. After he went through such darkness, Hashem went ahead and helped him to be able to overpower his challenges and rise above. It's amazing if you learn the story of David HaMelech. We look at him, we think of him, we grow up, David HaMelech, probably since he was born, and he was the most amazing and cherished. He had the best life. He had a horrible life. He was Nechbel HaKelim. His son Avshalom tried to kill him. He went through so much. King Shaul tried to kill him. He had to go make believe like he's a Meshugana, like a crazy person in order to... he went through so many different challenges. And he came to build a Chanukah's Habayis. Of what? Not just what it seems like, that he was building the external Beis HaMikdash, building a nice home for the Shekhinah, which is beautiful. But it's talking about the Chanukah's Habayis of himself inside. And every Jew, that after we go through periods of darkness and destruction and pain, we have to rebuild. And we have to have a Chanukah's Habayis Hapnimi, in order to be Mekayim in our own souls, in order to sustain the concept in our own souls of having Hischachos, rejuvenation. And a Chanukah's Habayis, Lo Shuv L'Mamadoi Kiberi Chadasha. So many times we get beaten down, but then afterwards we have to stand back up. We have scars, we have wounds, but we reconnect and we recommit, and we say, okay, I'm back up. You can imagine a boxer in the ring, and he gets knocked down, and he's tired, and he's down there, and it's difficult, and he doesn't want to get back up, but then all of a sudden he says, no, I'm going to try again. That is a hero. That is the name Klal Yisrael, like we said from the Nesiv Shalom. And the Chidush Yerim brings it down. Ki sarisa im eleikim ba'anoshim batuchol. Yaakov Avinu got the name Yisrael. Why? Why did he get a name change? Because Kisarisa, he struggled with angels and with people, and he succeeded. So the Chidush Yerim asks, so his name should be succeeded, not struggle. His name should be Vatuchol. We would be Klal Tuchol, not Klal Yisrael. Yisrael is the word Sarisa. You struggled. That's why you changed your name to struggle. And what was the important part of the struggle? The impressive part wasn't that he struggled. The impressive part, l'chayra, was that he succeeded. So why did he change it? And the answer the Chidush Yerim says is that the results are not what counts. What defines Yaakov Avinu, what defined Klal Yisrael, we are called Klal Yisrael. We are the people who never stop struggling. We are the people who never stop struggling. We are the people who never give up. We see people that we would write off, so many stories of people that you would just write off, and all of a sudden, a couple of years later, and you see their fire is burning. They're back. Sheva yipol tzadik v'kam. Ba'amech kulam tzadikim. Every Jew is a tzaddik. And we have that quality that you see people knocked down, you think, oh, nothing will ever become of him. And all of a sudden, wow, pops back up. And when I say pop back up, I'm not talking about what he becomes. I'm talking about the fact that he's trying again. I've seen this with my own eyes. Why are you trying to keep Shabbos again? Why are you trying to fast on Yom Kippur again? Why are you trying? Why don't you give up? You were knocked down so many times. If this was any other category or any other people, they would be, that's it. I don't do that anymore. I myself wanted to become a black belt in karate, and I tried, and I gave up. I didn't try again 5 years later and 10 years later and say, oh, let me try again, let me try. I said, no, not for me. But yet, when it comes to Yiddishkeit, we see people get knocked down to the bottom, and they rise up again. The rising is just to make an effort. That's why we're called Klal Yisrael. Ki sarisa emelikim. Vatuchal, the fact that you were successful, Yaakov Avinu, that's not what defines us. It defines us that ki sarisa. And after we come down and we fall down, we want to rebuild and rejuvenate. That's called the Chanukah Habayis. I'm gonna try again. And we have to celebrate that. And in this Mizmar of Mizmar Shir Chanukah Habayis David, David HaMelech expresses everything that he went through. Every word of this, every few words, is a whole chapter of his life. Hashem Helisa min sha'ol nafshi. God raised me up from the bottom. My soul was in the bottom of the world. You ever feel like you're at the bottom of the world in the pits? Emotionally, psychologically, psychiatrically, spiritually. You ever feel like that? David HaMelech experienced it. Hashem, he says, thank you, you raised me up, but there was a period of time before he was raised up where he was in the pits. Sha'ol nafshi. Chiyisani miyar divar. And he expresses his bakasha to become renewed and to build again, to rebuild his inner home, his inner sanctuary. It's not just the Chanukah Habayis of the sanctuary of the Beis HaMikdash. It's about rebuilding our own inner sanctuary. Eilecha Hashem ekro, he expresses. Hashem, I'm calling out to you. Vel Hashem eschanon. Read the whole thing in English. What's it going to help if they kill me and I'm dead? Please, Hashem, I'm calling out to you. That's what we do when we're down in the dumps. Shema Hashem v'chaneini. Hashem, please hear me and be graceful to me. Hashem hayei oizerli. And then he continues and continues until the final words of Mizmor Shir Chanukah Habayis LeDavid, where he says, Hashem Elokai, my God, La'olam Oideka, I will always be thankful to you. I will always praise you for being there with me. Not that he didn't suffer, but that he had the ability, Vatuchel, Kisarisa. He struggled. He had the ability to get back up. That's why it was Misaka in this Mizmar for every Jew. After we go through a difficulty on Klal Yisrael, but yet again, every time you look in the history of Klal Yisrael, we went through a breakdown in different periods, spiritual breakdowns, physical, emotional. We were in chains and tortured and enslaved many times. But we come back and we get strong again. As Klal Yisrael, the last is Chanukah Habayis shel Beis Yisrael. And we have to come back to rebuild Klal Yisrael and to make a Chanukah Habayis for Beis Yisrael. After the Holocaust, look what happened. We had to rebuild Klal Yisrael, the whole general Klal Yisrael, all the moistus and the whole, everything, the shuls and the yeshivas and the summer camps, the food industry, everything had to be rebuilt. Everything, the kashrus, everything. And Beis Yisrael, and the home of the Jewish home, needed to be rebuilt. And that's what happened by the Chashmonaim. That after we were in a matzav that we were almost destroyed completely, they came, the Chashmonaim came, and it says that when they went out to war, you know what they did? You know what they sang? They sang this Mizmar. They said Mizmar Shir Chanukah Habayis LeDavid, B'chol yoyim yimei Chanukah, every single day. And that's why we say it. It's our minute to say this Mizmar when we light Chanukah Lecht. Ki INYANEI, because the inyan of this Mizmar is chadshus, renewal, the Chanukah Habayis, and a renewal and a Chanukah Habayis, opening of a new home. After it was in a situation of completely smattered. Like it was then and like it is now. We have to understand that Chanukah HaMizbeach that happened was the light, the eternal light of Chanukah. The miracle of Chanukah was that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed and it was complete darkness. The light was turned off of the menorah, which was a physical light, but the physical light of a few candles is not what this was all about. It was the emotional and the psychological strength of Klal Yisrael, and it was the spiritual strength. It says that when the Kohen Gadol lit the light of the menorah, it burst forth Kedusha into the heart of every Jew, wherever he was in the whole world. It was a light. It was spiritual light. When a person is in darkness, he can't make proper decisions for himself. And he can't think about his eternity. We need light to conquer darkness. And we were in a place of darkness, and that's why the miracle of Chanukah that we celebrate, what is Chanukah? Not just the war that we physically won, but that we lit that menorah. We had a Chanukah HaMizbeach. We had a Chanukah, a renewal. And this is an eternal light that happens b'chol shana v'shana b'zman hazeh, every single year in these days. The al shma nikra chag Chanukah. And that's why the chag is called Chanukah. Over this, the Chanukah lights. Even though there was Rabbim Biad Ma'atim, Tmeim Biad Tahorim, Misham Biad Tzadikim, Zaydim Biad Oisker Sarisecha, even though we were saved physically and winning a war of a few people against thousands of people is huge. But my Chanukah, the Gemara says, what is Chanukah, as we learned already? It's about this. It's about that we found that Pach Echad Shemen, and that we were able to renew our lives with the light of godliness, the spark of godliness of Hashem in our lives. Inyan ha'arazu, this concept of this light, of chinuch and eschachos, b'chinas Chanukah's hamazbeach, v'Chanukah's beis habayis mechodosh, la'achar matzav shel churban. This is something that we all need in our lives. We go through the same thing of Churban Beis HaMikdash. We go through times of darkness, when the Greeks came and they took away the menorah. We go through that also, that we get darkness in our minds. And the only way to combat darkness is not with talking about it and is not with debating people who are in darkness. It's only about filling them with light and filling ourselves with light. And kefi shahaya b'neis Chanukah sheklal Yisrael haya b'matzav shel churban kila'achar yush achar shahivonim timu kol hashmanim. What happened in the time of Chanukah, the miracle was that Klal Yisrael was in the matzav of churban. We were in a situation of complete destruction, begashmius, benafshius, and berochnius. It looked like it was over, physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and spiritually destroyed. It looked post-Yush, post-crisis. The Yevanim timu kol hashmanim. The Greeks came in, they destroyed the Beis HaMikdash physically, they enslaved us physically, and they were metame all of the lights. What would be with our spirit and our mind? Uvamatzav zan, in this situation, Hishrei HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Pach Hashemen. Shu inyan kustu d'chiyusa akayemes tamid b'chlolis am Yisrael umimenu shav ha'or leha'ir. And in that situation, Hashem made sure that there will be a spark, a kosher spark, a holy spark, a Pach Echad Shel Shemen Tahor. And that from there, it can rejuvenate, to reignite the light of Torah, the light of Yiddishkeit, the light of godliness within Klal Yisrael. V'chein beprotis, and so too with every single one of us. Yesh b'chol Yehudi b'chinas Pach Shemen shemimenu hu nir b'zman choshech. Every Jew, when we are in a matzav of darkness, we have to scrounge around for that little bit of light because it's in us. U'moisif ha'hilach, and it grows and it grows. V'oir ad nechayin hayoyim, until it enlightens our minds like the light of day. Ad she'oiseh Chanukah's habayis mechodosh, until we can become back to have a Chanukah's habayis, to being where we need to be, where we want to be, to have stability in our lives. U'mikoyach haneis bayomim ohem, and from the power of that nes in those days, in these days, in those years, Nishar Hazman Hazeh, it remained, this time, these 8 days remained Mesugel, set aside, Lenatseach, L'Chanukah's Habayis, to be victorious, to restore our personal homes. She Yehudi Yivne Shuv, es Beisai Haruchni, that every Jew should be able to rebuild his own spiritual home, V'yichanchoi Mechodosh, and to establish it. Chanukah's HaMizbeach, Chanukah's Habayis, to establish stability in our lives, even after, throughout the year, we go through darkness and we can fall to Shvala Madrega, to the lowest levels, comes Chanukah, and we fill our minds with light, and with that light we can reestablish who we are, to have stability and light in our lives.